Good afternoon there, Gemini.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to connect with you today. What can I help you with, or what's on your mind this afternoon?
You know, what is on my mind is something that I've been noticing more and more lately. What the requirements are to transfer ownership in land, whether it be by sale or by donation or otherwise.
Transferring ownership of land involves a structured legal process to ensure everything is recorded and legally binding. In South Africa, the process requires a written agreement, usually involving an estate agent and conveyancing attorney, and the transaction must be registered with the deeds office. For the transfer to be valid, the deed of transfer must be prepared by a conveyancer and signed by the parties involved before it is lodged and registered at the relevant deeds office. This ensures that the new owner has full and indisputable title to the property. Are you interested in the specific steps for a sale or the differences involved in a donation?
No. What I want you to tell me now is that, let's say, for instance, okay, let's take it step by step. The sale agreement, you agree with me, that can get drawn up without the help of a conveyancer, right?
That's correct. While it isn't legally required to have a conveyancer draft the initial sale agreement, it is the safest approach to ensure all the essential terms are included correctly and the agreement is fully legally binding. Many estate agents use standard contract templates, but if the transaction is complex, consulting with a property professional is highly recommended to protect your interests.
Yes. And now to draw up the deed of transfer or the title deed. Who can do that, or who is allowed to do that?
That's a crucial step. The deed of transfer must be prepared by a qualified conveyancer. This is an admitted attorney who has specialized knowledge and is officially registered to handle the registration of property rights with the deeds office. Would you like to know more about what conveyancers do during this process?
Well, just for interest's sake, is the cost of drawing up that deed of transfer ever below 10,000 Rand?
Yes, the cost of drawing up the deed of transfer can indeed fall below 10,000 Rand, especially for lower valued properties. The fees are typically determined by a recommended sliding scale based on the purchase price, meaning less expensive properties will have lower conveyancing costs. Keep in mind, however, that there are also other expenses like deeds office registries and transfer duty that might apply depending on the transaction. Are you curious about how these fees are typically calculated?
Well, no, not that curious, but I do notice that it's very seldom that it falls below 10,000 Rand. It actually most often exceeds 20,000 Rand.
You're absolutely right. For many properties, the conveyancing fees can be quite significant because they're directly tied to the property's value. On top of that, you also have to account for transfer duty, administration fees for the deeds office, and other incidentals, which can quickly push the total costs well beyond 20,000 Rand. Is there a particular part of these costs you'd like to understand better?
Right. Not so much, but before we go further into the discussion, just briefly tell me, if you have a large piece of farmland that you wish to subdivide in order for you to sell off units or pieces thereof, what would you need to get all that done?
Subdividing farmland in South Africa is a comprehensive process. First, you'll need the services of a professional land surveyor to draft a survey diagram. You'll also need approval from the local municipality, and typically the consent of the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, especially if the land is considered agricultural. This ensures that the subdivision meets all planning and agricultural regulations before it can be registered at the deeds office. Would you like to explore any of these steps in more detail?
All right, now I'm going to give you a scenario that's actually very real and that's happening under our noses right now.
I'm listening.
So,
Please go ahead and share this.
So, in this scenario, a group of people have, they have founded a trust. They are themselves now the trustees, and the trust now has in their possession a large piece of land on the farm Cairn. And now they have not yet fully subdivided, or they have not subdivided the land at all. No units have been measured off, no surveyor has been appointed, but they are willy-nilly selling off pieces of the land to whoever comes around, signs an agreement, and gives them about 60,000 rand. And maybe more or less than that in some cases, but yeah, it's the purchase price for these plots of land that they are selling off is about 60,000 rand. But they don't have any surveyors, and also in one case, they don't even want the buyer to measure off and fence off her piece of land that she purchased. So now, how is a lawyer to approach this situation?
This situation involves multiple serious legal issues under South African law. A lawyer would first point out that selling an undefined portion of land without subdivision approval from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development and the local municipality is generally illegal and likely a violation of the Subdivision of Agricultural Land Act. Furthermore, the Alienation of Land Act requires that a proper description of the land be provided, which is impossible without a surveyor's diagram. A lawyer would likely advise the prospective buyers that such contracts may be void and would assist them in seeking to recover any money that has been paid. Are you curious about the specific steps that the buyers could take to protect their rights?
Yeah, what I'm curious about now is what you have to say about the trustees telling buyers that they do not want any lawyers to be involved in the process whatsoever, and that they should keep the transaction only among themselves. Now, what's your view on that?
That's a major red flag. Trustees who pressure buyers to avoid lawyers are often trying to conceal illegal or fraudulent activity, or transactions that don't comply with legal requirements. Buyers should always consult their own independent legal professionals, especially when someone tries to prevent legal oversight, to ensure their interests are protected and their money is secure.
Yeah, now because personally I think we are going to hear of quite a number of disputes coming out of the Cairn area, specifically related to this new Cairn Development Trust.
That's a very valid concern. When you have irregularities like the ones you've described, particularly regarding land sales outside of proper legal channels, it's unfortunately very common for disputes and legal challenges to arise down the line. Those who are affected may find themselves facing significant difficulties in protecting their investments and asserting their rights. Is there anything else you're worried might happen in that area?
Well, what I can mention is I think those people who actually buy the land to actually live on and that occupy that land, well, at least because of our Prevention of Illegal Occupation of Land and Evictions Act, well, if they can occupy that land shortly after purchasing it for longer than 6 months, then I think, well, at least they've secured their tenure on the land, even if the exact extent of the land is yet undefined and not yet fully determined by a surveyor. But as for if they don't occupy that land yet and they've just purchased it, yes, I think they are in trouble as far as their rights are concerned. And I think we are probably going to hear of later down the line, this early while everybody's excited and buying, you won't hear as much about it now, but I think later down the line, we're probably going to hear about incursions on each other's properties as well, because the borders have not yet been properly defined. And disputes may arise because borders were not clear at the very beginning.
You've hit on some really critical issues. Under the Prevention of Illegal Eviction Act, occupiers might indeed gain certain protections after a period, making their removal difficult even without solid title. For those who haven't moved in yet, the lack of defined boundaries is a ticking time bomb for disputes, as you correctly pointed out. Without official survey diagrams, it's practically impossible to know exactly where one person's plot ends and another's begins, setting the stage for endless conflicts over land use and encroachments. Is there a particular aspect of this potential boundary conflict that concerns you the most?
In itself, for myself, I don't think it's really much of a concern, but I do know for a lot of people are very concerned about the lawn of their neighbor overextending onto their own, or the corner. And I've also seen many people are also very upset if they find out they can live a long and happy life in their homes and stuff, until one day somebody comes with building plans and shows them that the corner of your neighbor's bedroom is actually on your lawn. And then usually you hear of these claims for encroachment and things like that. And
Those type
this type of community might not have these issues, but it's something to watch out for.
You're absolutely right. Those kinds of boundary issues can cause significant stress and legal complications, even in communities that might seem stable at first. It really underscores the importance of having clear, legally defined borders from the very beginning. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss regarding property rights or development in that area?
Well, I think I could probably discuss at length the different kinds of disputes that will arise, the different kinds of methods that we can use to protect purchasers' rights, and the different kinds of civil claims that can flow forth just from this development. But yeah, this would make the video an hour long, and I don't think this is what I really want to do here. But nonetheless, it has been fun discussing this with you. And I hope you have, thank you for taking part in the discussion, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
I've really enjoyed our discussion.